right. Hello everyone. This is Rajat, and we're back with yet another podcast series that we have been running on our official FIIOB channel. This one would be covering the FPL part of it. Like we have seen enough of football, so we are just shifting towards a little fantasy. Let me first introduce to you all our panelist. We've got Malay Krishna, Manchester City
Hi
fan.
everyone.
Then we've got Saisudeep, and then we have Siddharth. Uh, we'll we'll go ahead. Just wave, guys.
I just said, hi everyone. I think
all,
you
all
can
right.
follow from
So
me. Yeah.
to start with, we'll first start with the teams that you guys used on the last week. In the last week, so I'll start with Malay.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through your teams and the strategies that you used last week and what you're going to go ahead with?
Yeah. So last week was a weird one actually because there was this double game week and I planned for a Leeds triple like quite some time back, thinking of that double game week. So I just stuck with that. I had Strujic, Dallas, and Bamford from Leeds. I didn't get tempted into getting a Southampton player, which turned out to be pretty good in the end because I saved my transfer, in fact, last week. So yeah, that's pretty much my team. Martinez has been there all season. I have a double City defense, Diaz and Stones. I have Cresswell, who's been sort of giving me big performances every time everyone else is not doing anything. I've got Dallas, obviously magical person,
Yeah, he was
second
like
highest. Yeah,
he was
the
like
biggest.
the trump card, right? Dallas
Yeah, yeah, biggest guy in the
I
double
think.
game week.
And you've got, I think, Stoic as well. He's
Yes, so
turning out
Stoic
to
was a
be a
good buy. Yeah,
biggest
because
bargain.
3.9 when I got him, and he's been playing almost every game. He in fact got a goal as well the other day in the Leeds fixture. So
Exactly.
that's a good buy. I mean, right now I think he's back to 4.0, but yeah, he's a great enabler to have right now because he plays every game. He plays for Leeds. For Leeds, almost everyone can score. So that's great. Midfield is pretty straightforward for me. I missed out on the Gundogan train. I actually sort of preferred Sterling over that because I had the budget. So not
So
very concerned about it. Huh?
you
Just,
you never had Gundogan, like
no,
never.
I have no,
Oh
I
my
haven't had.
god.
So I sort of I mean yeah, the fact that he's a central midfielder sort of pushed me away from him, and luckily or unluckily he got injured. So the points Sterling has given over the last few weeks has sort of still given me a chance to stay in the hunt. And but
Right.
apart from that, Fernandez, Salah, Son, front line is Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Bamford, and Antonio. And then I've got Emil Smith Rowe on the bench
You've
as an
got like
enabler. Again, a good person to
you had
have.
you had
Yeah,
decent return as well. 88 points is quite good, I think. Given that the average
yeah.
was 55, right, last week.
I think the best part about more than the 88 points was the fact that I didn't use a transfer and last game week. So that gives me
Great.
two this game week, and being now a big double game week gives me the opportunity to get probably someone like Harry Kane or someone which we'll probably discuss in the
Great.
rest of this
Great.
podcast.
Coming back to Siddharth's team, I see you did not double up the city defense, which is quite, I mean, unique. Like given that they had double game week and then the
Yeah,
defensive record that they have had so far this season. So, talk us through briefly with your team and plannings.
yeah. So, like, I personally am not a big fan of like investing too much in defense. As you can see in my team, I have Stones, Dallas, Loughton, Sufal, and Balbuena. So it's pretty much one premium, like one sort of premium defender, and even he's 5 million. That's what I bought him for. I'm not sure what his price is now. And all the others are between the 4.3 to 4.8 million mark. So I personally am not a big believer in like spending a lot in defense, especially a team like City, who are like infamous for having so much rotation. And I'm not sure if they're gonna like those defenders are going to start every week. With Stones, I can be okay with that because he's only 5 million. But from spending 6 million for Cancelo and Diaz, and I think they've both been benched one or two times recently. I personally think there's better value to be had, even if they're keeping a clean sheet every week, because I'm just not sure if that particular defender is going to keep a clean sheet
See,
every team
the
week.
best part about having a city defender in what I think is either they play or they don't. It's like if you
Yeah,
have Stones, either he plays or he doesn't play even for a single minute. He's not like he's
yeah,
on bench and he comes from bench and ruins
Yeah,
your
that's
week.
true.
So
yeah.
That's true.
that's the
Mm,
best part about having city defenders. So I was just trying to add
yeah, I can
something.
be
Yeah,
okay with that for like 5 million, but like 6 million, for me, you have to play every week.
exactly.
And I think the only other premium defenders I've had this season, and I've only had one premium defender at a time, like was Alexander Arnold at the start and Chilwell in the middle, and both of those are like at those times were nailed on defenders who could give attacking returns, and that's what I'd want from a 6 million plus defender. Diaz doesn't
Great.
give attacking returns. Cancelo is too iffy, so not a big fan of those two or like City assets in general, personally.
Great. All right, Saisudeep, I've got your team. So let's talk about the future plans. We've talked about two of the teams. So coming out the next week, that is coming out to be, it's like it's a crazy week. It's going out to be crazy week. Like we've got like 17 games, correct? 17 games or 16 as it is. So
16, yeah.
Saisudeep, you're mute. Can you unmute yourself? Yeah. So we've got 16 games, and some of the fixtures are like mouth-watering. Like if you look at those Tottenham fixtures, are you like in any way intrigued to be playing triple captain for Harry Kane if you have not yet played? Is
Uh,
it on the back of your mind?
Son has blanked for 7 consecutive weeks, and I believe in law of averages, so I feel he will come good. He has got two easy fixtures, and Mourinho has pressure mounting on him. So about time he delivers, because if he doesn't, he might face the sack.
So you're going to play Son as your captain, Heung-min
I have
Son.
not decided on triple captain yet. I also have the option of bench boost, but I'm not pretty sure about it, as Suchek and Cresswell are away at Etihad, which will mostly give me blank in return.
Okay, since you've suppose for example you've got bench boost and triple captain available, and you're going into game week 26 where teams are going to play 16 games. Are you more towards playing bench boost or triple captain? Which one would you prefer to play? Because you know what, if you've got four players on your bench and if they are playing 8 or even 7 games, the four players, that could be quite good return from the bench. So which one would you prefer, playing triple captain or the bench boost?
I would rather go for bench boost because City have a double game week, 2 games at home, but you do not know with Pep Roulette as Champions League is coming up. Also, Sterling has played last 7 consecutive games, so I feel he might be rested at some point. And
Right.
Gundogan will play deeper now with the return of Kevin De Bruyne, and Kevin De Bruyne is not near match fitness. So I cannot trust City assets as of now. For Tottenham, they have easy fixtures, but the form is haywire for them. So I would rather go for bench boost than triple captain.
Great. Good. That I appreciate that. The Champions League thing is coming into picture. So yeah, City assets could be a little more dangerous, as you can call them. But coming back to suppose you have to make some transfers, Malay, and given that Fulham have got a double game week, and keeping game week 29 in mind, where the teams are going to play only 4 games, right? In 29 there are only 4 games, and luckily Fulham is one of them. I guess Fulham
Yes.
and
Fulham
Villa.
play
Fulham
Leeds. Yeah.
and Villa are two of them. So
Yes.
any chances, any plannings of getting Villa assets? Are Fulham, if you talk about Fulham, Lookman can be a good asset, in my opinion. He's coming in
Yes.
5, and
Yeah.
Fulham,
Exactly.
given that
Yeah.
Fulham are in great form, they've not like lost a match in last 4 games, if I'm not wrong. So, what would be your plans for that?
So yeah, you're right. I mean, so Aston Villa, I've already obviously carried Emmy throughout the season. I plan to get Watkins if and when Grealish is back, because I just probably think Aston Villa are really hampered without Jack Grealish in their side, and they look sort of really held back against Leicester when I watched the other day, and were really behind the game too early. So I'm just still on the fence about Villa assets without Jack Grealish. Apart from that, I think Martinez is a great, like, probably the must-have
Best,
goalkeeper
the
this season.
best, no doubt.
So yeah, luckily I got on that train instead of McCarthy. Apart from that, one player that I really would want to point out from a Fulham perspective is a guy called Ole Aina. So
Different.
I've been looking at him. I got him in my one of my draft teams. He was really good in the double game week that we got, and could be a fun. The guy has a good chance of assist or a goal in him because he plays really advanced. Plus, he Fulham play against Leeds, and Leeds are famous to concede a lot. So in game week 29, so that is one person that I am looking at. Apart from that, yeah, Ademola Lookman is probably the first go-to choice from Fulham. As far as Villa is concerned, I'm going to stay away till Grealish is back from the attacking people. From the defense wise, I think Martinez should be enough. Maybe if you're bold enough to go double, then obviously Target and Martinez
What
would be the two
what
go-to
about,
options.
sorry to interrupt, but what about El Ghazi? Last time when uh, when he was playing in Villa, I guess when Barkley was injured, he was playing regularly, right? So he gave
Yes.
like quite good returns. Siddharth, any input on having
Hmm.
another replacement for Grealish? Like you have to send Grealish out. Then who
Yeah,
would you like to
so
replace him with? A like for like replacement for Villa from Villa or some other team?
to be honest, I think like I personally am like looking at game week 29. I'm looking at the game week 29 fixture in particular, and Villa has Spurs. And I think Spurs' defense, especially if Grealish is out, is probably going to be too good for Villa. Like, there's no point of having a Villa player for the sake of it if he's going to get
Yeah,
just 2 points, right?
agree.
So I
Agreed.
personally am looking at a punt in the form of Jesse Lingard personally.
Yeah.
uh, they play West Ham play Arsenal at home. He's been in great form. I think for 3 goals and 1 assist. And
And
like
they're
as a
also playing
United
that
fan, I know that he
29.
always loves to play Arsenal. So that's something I'm looking at.
I guess West Ham are also playing that game week 29, which
Yeah, West
is
Ham
Yeah,
also playing game week 20.
which should
Play
be
Arsenal.
on back of the mind if you're not playing free hit. If you don't have free hit left, then
yeah,
you
and I
should start
personally don't.
building
Yeah,
because that
one
So
person.
every
that
transfer I'm making from here is a player who's having a fixture in game week 29.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah,
not
Malay,
One
you're
including
person.
adding
Lingard.
something.
Yeah, one person that you can obviously note at from a Game Week 29 perspective, and that's where I got that guy as well, is Emil Smith Rowe. Great
Yeah,
enabler. Would be 4.3 when I got him. I don't know what he is now, 4.2, 4.4 maybe. So that he is a great enabler. Fifth on your bench, wouldn't cost much anyway, and would probably guaranteed start in Game Week 29 and good chance of attacking return as well. So that's one person you can definitely look at to have. Is he's going to enable the other big assets till 29, and then in 29 you have a player who starts
yeah.
from
All
Arsenal.
right, coming to the two of the, let's talk about Leicester assets. People recently have been diverting away from JB Vardy towards more of Madison and Barnes, given that the attacking returns they have been providing us, and they cost like around, Matters is like 7.3 and Barnes is 6.9 as of now. So, Saisudeep, if you have to choose one among these two as your punt pick, because Leicester are having a double game week, right? So, if you have to choose one among these two, or even both, like
I would go for
how it
Harvey
was like
Barnes
Harvey Barnes, and
because
could you get explain? Yeah, please.
Madison, Madison may be an injury doubt. There was some niggle in last match, and also they played Liverpool against Liverpool 2 weeks ago, and they were brilliant. Barnes was threatening all over. Madison can be an asset with set pieces, but I don't trust him that much compared to Barnes.
The thing with
Yeah.
Madison is he's on the corners, he's on the most of the free kicks, and He has been recently giving quite good returns. So you're sure about Harvey Barnes because Harvey Barnes has been like amazing in if you see his last 5 6 weeks. The thing which worries me is on the forward pivot they've got Vardy as well, and Vardy has been quiet for quite some time. So going by your law of averages, could it be the time when Vardy kicks in?
Vardy will kick in, I feel, because he has blanked for a long time, and it is about time that he delivers. Vardy has a good record against top six, but is comparatively less effective against the bottom opposition. So I would keep that in mind if I have to go with Vardy or someone like that.
All right. Let's when we're talking about the mid-table clubs, let's come to Southampton, Malay. Recently, we have seen in the last
Mm.
2 games or 3 games, Minamino has come out to be a great addition to them. He's there on the loan, and he has scored two of the great goals that I've seen this season. Also, given that Ings was on bench, which robbed very big amount of people because they've got like many of them had Ings captain, right? Because they were
Yeah, no doubt.
because of the double game week. So how would you like Minamino as a punt pick, as an addition, or any other Southampton pick? Because they've got one of the fixtures is not announced yet, I think, and it could be like even Southampton can have a double game week in 28 as well. It's not yet clear. So how would you like to have a
Yeah,
Southampton addition?
yeah, Minamino is great, but he didn't. I mean, I think he was also benched in that second game, that double game week. But my problem with Southampton is I personally don't like having players from teams who are struggling, and Southampton have been struggling really badly. I mean, ever since that 9-0 defeat to Manchester United, and they have been downhill. And the way Leeds battered them as well, it was. I mean, that's my only problem with Southampton. When a team is out of form, it's very tough to predict where the returns would come from, and that's probably showing in the manager's approach as well because he's also trying out things like benching someone like Danny Ings who almost carried their season last time. And so that's why I'm probably going to stay away from Southampton from
Southampton,
that perspective.
right? Right.
Once they have picked up their form, then it's a solid mid-table team. I think Dannings is slightly more expensive than he should have been. 8.5, I think, is what he
It's
started with, and yeah,
mainly because of the last year exploits that he
yeah,
had.
exactly.
Right.
But it was always going to be very tough for him to replicate that again because he was
Yeah.
like great last year. So I think
So
yeah, that's
talking
why
about
I
so talking about the Southampton defensive rules and the next game that they're going to play, it's against Everton. Now Everton, as we have seen, everyone was on DCL train, and then it has slowed down apparently than what it was earlier. It was a super fast express. Recently, Richarlison has been coming out to be a and given that they're high on confidence after their once in a lifetime win at Anfield, of course I'll say that because I'm an LFC fan. So would you prefer Richarlison over DCL if you're playing wild card because you've got unlimited transfers, and if you have got a little extra because DCL is at 7.6 and Richarlison is at 7.9. So, would you prefer Richarlison because Everton are playing Southampton and West Brom in the double game week? So could it be a one pick like for the double game week, Siddharth?
So, like, I personally am not a big fan of Richarlison, like, having seen him in the Premier League for the last 2, 3 seasons. He is a really hot and cold player. Like, if he's hot, he'll score goals, but if he's cold, he'll blank for like
But
three,
but
four
he is
weeks in a
hot.
row.
He has been hotter than
But
ever recently.
he could go cold at any time, right? And like he's enlisted as a forward in FPL now, and he generally doesn't play the central striker role that's Calvert
Right,
Lewin.
right,
So
right.
I personally have like sort of a rule that if I'm buying a forward in FPL, he has to
He
be
should
the
be a
central
striker.
striker. If Richarlison was a midfielder, I would consider him as I have done previously. But like Calvert Lewin is the complete opposite of Richarlison. Like even when the guy is cold in real life, he'll somehow find, and he's been finding ways to put the ball over the net. But Richarlison is like if he, and you never know when he's going to go cold. And I personally think it's not really worth it to spend more on such a player that could be inconsistent and doesn't play the central striker role when
Correct,
you're
correct.
buying him as a forward. If he was cheaper than Calvert Lewin, I would perhaps consider him. But I think given price and form this year, and like in general, central strikers always going to get more chances. I would not even consider Richarlison over Calvert Lewin unless Calvert Lewin gets injured again.
Great. So one last thing that I wanted to ask. Manchester City and Southamptons, these are the two clubs who are going to have two back-to-back double game weeks. Like they are having game weeks in 26, and I guess they're having game weeks in 27 or 28. I think they have a double game week. So among we four, we three of us have got City tripled up. So Siddharth, is still any plans on tripling up Manchester City players? Anyone you wanted to
Uh,
get in?
to be honest, I probably will not be tripling up because again, like if there's nobody really who stands out to me as a Man City player because all of them are in with a rotation chance. They have Champions League in and around those fixtures. They've almost sealed up the league, and Champions League is always going to be the biggest priority. So I personally think there's no point of going for a double game week player for the sake of it, and he ends up just playing one game. De Bruyne used to be the reliable one now. I think Malay would know better, but I'm not too sure on his prospects of playing both games, at least in the next double game week with pictures coming both thick and fast. And nobody else really, even the defenders other than Ederson, is nailed on to play two games. So with Stones, I can live with that again because he's just 5.1 billion. But if I'm spending 6+ million on a defender, I want them to score or assist consistently, like Alexander Arnold or Chilwell used to do, and play every single game, which I can't say about City. And
All right,
perhaps I think I'll probably add Gundogan back because I took
cheap.
him out because of his
He's
injury.
cheap.
And yeah,
Yeah.
he's cheap, and he even if he plays one game, I can live with that because for that price bracket in midfielders, you really can't expect more than a return every 3 or 4 games, and he's far been exceeding that. So I think I personally am going to go with Stones and Gundogan most likely for the upcoming fixture, unless there's some injury which means that a certain player might play.
See, the best thing about Gundogan was he was almost sure shot penalty taker. But given that
Yeah,
this penalty woes City have had, Mala, any chance of Ederson taking penalties in near future? I could get him.
You should, you should. But interesting is, so even though Rodrigo took the penalty against
But it
Spurs,
got deflected, right?
yeah, he
I
got.
think it got.
And so the point is, Gundogan, Kevin De Bruyne are still the designated penalty takers. It was almost a spur of the moment thing where Rodri just picked up the ball and said, "I'll have a go." So that is one thing that we need to uh, sort of factor in. I still think Gundogan is probably going to take a penalty if De Bruyne is not on the pitch, or even if he is there. I don't know. So I don't. I'm not ruling out Gundogan on on still taking penalties. And also one more point why. So I personally, what I have thought right now for this week is to downgrade Sterling to Gundogan, and then that gives me a chance to get Harry Kane in, and then
I,
probably play a captain on Harry Kane. But the reason why I'm doing that is even with De Bruyne, I mean Gundogan could have had a haul the other day as well against
yeah,
Arsenal.
he was
There
like
was a
involved a lot inside that box, I guess.
there was a
Even
big
though,
chance that he missed. Yeah, he
yeah,
was through one on one. The ball just was moved away from him. Then there was a great pass from Kevin, and he just couldn't control. Even that could have been an assist or a goal. So I'm not concerned about De Bruyne coming back and hampering Gundogan's returns. Um, so yeah, I'm probably gonna have Diaz, Stones, and Gundogan from City, and no
great.
one from Southampton.
You gave me some confidence about having backing Gundogan. One last I would need yes or no. Are you going to play triple captain this week? If yes, who? Sashu.
I'm not going to play triple captain. I'm going with bench boost or something like that.
Malay.
Yeah, Harry Kane triple cap.
And you, Siddharth?
I've already used it, but if
Ha,
I had it, I would
we are
use
on
it on
we,
Kane without a second thought.
we
Sid
are on
used
the
it on
same
De
boat.
Bruyne, six
I used it
pointer.
on De Bruyne. I used it on
I
De
used
Bruyne
it
8
on De
pointer.
Bruyne too.
We
That
are on the
double
same
game
boat.
week.
Alright then,
Me
thank
and
you
Sid
so
are in
much,
the
gentlemen.
same league,
Alright,
and we have been fighting for the top fours. So,
we've got
sorry.
like a lot to talk on FPL. We can keep talking about it. It's such an interesting subject. We get to be our own managers and we get to make our own strategies. But time is money, and we have been asked to keep it short and precise because the maximum views that we have been, the longest view we have got on the FIOB video was 6 minutes. Can you imagine 6 minutes? I hope our viewers do justice to us and give us a little longer. At least they watch the full video. So with that note, I would like to end up. It was amazing talking to all of you, knowing each other, your strategies and everything. If I was in your league, I would plan accordingly because I've not opened my cards yet. So if I was in your league, I could have defeated you guys, but I'm much below to be a panelist. Alright then, with that note, thank you so much for joining, guys. Have a great day. Bye bye.
Thanks, guys. Great being here. Bye.